I'm Simon Reed. Welcome to the first German international strongman competition at Garmisch-Partenkirchen. It's going to be hard, so let's get psyched up with the help of the Samoan, Joe Onosai. Great stuff. Joe, one of the 8 contestants here. This is the first ever German international organised by Germany's strongest ever man, Manfred Hoeberl. From Iceland, we've Magnus Magnusson, 7 times Icelandic champion, twice world champion and twice second, the 94 world strongman champion. From Wales, we've Gary Taylor, 34 years old, the man who lifted 265.6 kilos last year, silver medalist in the Olympics in 1984. From Scotland, Forbes Cowan, 30 years old, a new face on the scene, massively powerful. But is he strong enough in this field? From the States, Joe Onosai. We've heard from him, and now we'll see him, former American football player, descendant of the King of Samoa, a fantastic competitor. From Holland, the oldest competitor in the field, 39-year-old Ted van der Paar. Very big. Is he as strong as he looks? From South Africa, 28-year-old Wayne Price, who 3 years ago pulled a Boeing 747 over 20 meters, a world record, 101 tons. From Finland, Ilkka Kinnunen, 30 years old, a big star in America, where he's in the American Gladiators and goes by the name of Barbarian. And from Germany, the youngest man in the field, just 27 years old, Heinz Olesch. And all this put together by the great Manfred Hoeberl, the man with the largest biceps in the world, 65 centimeters, and a multiple winner of the world's strongest man competition. Seven events, 8 points for the winner of each event, down to 1 for 8th place. We start off with what they call the Hurricane. This is Ted van der Paar from Holland, his encounter with the Hurricane. Wind speed of 135 k's against him, 50 kilograms of plexiglass he's holding up, a 1 meter by 1 meter 4, and a distance to go of 15 meters. And that's an amazingly strong performance from Ted van der Paar. Time limit of 1 minute, he was comfortably inside at 25.61 seconds. So that's the target for the other 7. But they're going to have to go some to beat that. And the rain teeming down here at Garmisch-Partenkirchen, adding to the problems. Mighty difficult to get a grip. Next to go from Scotland, it's Forbes Cowan. And you can see he's really battling against this 130 kilometer an hour wind. Hardly making any ground at all, in fact, just beginning to make backward steps. So difficult to get a grip. And Forbes Cowan comes to the end of his march, having reached just 7.8 meters, and decidedly unhappy with his performance. So Ted van der Paar in the lead at the moment. And now it's the South African Wayne Price. And the rain has increased in power, so Raindrops being hurled in his direction at the same speed. As you can imagine, it gets more and more difficult as he gets nearer his target. Now, he's got long spikes on his shoes, which is helping him a great deal. No problem at all. A mighty performance from Wayne Price. And he gets to the end in 22.25. 3.5 seconds quicker than Van der Paarde. So a new target for the rest. And no wonder he looks delighted with himself. Ilkka Kinnunen. Time limit of 1 minute. As you can see, he made a lot of ground early on, but now really struggling. Just over the halfway mark. But the timekeeper comes in, and that's the end of Kinnunen. And he's adjudged to have made 9.7 meters, so a couple of meters more than Forbes Cowan, but still very disappointing indeed. So the Finn has to take a back seat now and watch the rest. But still, Wayne Price is 22.25 that leads. The last to go, Joe Onosai for the States. And just look at him make his move. Onosai slaughtering the time. And he gets to the end in a mighty impressive 14.80. 8 seconds faster than the rest. Onto the stones of strength. And first to go, Ted van der Paarde. So Onosai, the leader, going into this second stage. 5 stones. The first one weighs 95 with a barrel 1.60 meters, and as he goes on, the stones increase in weight 10 kilograms a time. The barrels do become 5 centimeters lower. But the organisers are making it as difficult as they possibly can. You can see the rain absolutely hurling down. But the Dutchman doing really well. And finally getting it in the end. The fifth one, 135 kilograms. And lifting at 140. 46.60 was his time. And this is Gary Taylor having a very difficult time of it. And finally giving way. Very slippery, very difficult to get a hold. And Gary Taylor missing out here, only credited with 4 stones. If one falls off, it's the stones that count rather than the time. So here's the home choice, Heinz Olesch. And you can see he forsakes the wet shirt, bare-chested, and bare strength as well. And in a competition like this, in these conditions, you can see he's reveling in the support he's getting. And Olesch overtakes Ted van der Paarde, 38.42 his time, 8 seconds quicker than van der Paarde. And he moves into the lead. Next to go is Magnus Vermagnusson, the favorite, 7 consecutive years, the Icelandic strongest man, and twice winner of the world's strongest man. So 3 down, onto the 4th. And he's picking them up as if they're marbles. Terrific stamina, enormous strength. And he's done it. 36.51. So he moves into the lead. And this is Wayne Price, seeing if he can match up. But he's got problems with his back. And the back just seems to have seized up altogether. The heavy rain cooling down the muscles can't help. And he's really struggling, and that looks to be the end of Wayne Price. That's Olesh coming up and giving him some support, moral, just as much as physical. And I'm afraid he'll have to go off to hospital. Now, alongside the main competition, a sideshow. They call it Miss Cool. Who can keep their cool amongst the local women here? We'll be following this through the next 50 minutes or so. Some outlandish tricks these competitors are forced to do, with the motive, a trip to the Bahamas. A test of daring. It's not power or speed that counts, just simply courage. And we start with this contest. They call it the truck dive, 5 meters high and very slippery. And they nearly dropped her. We'll be back with the big stuff, the strongman competition, right after this with the Bavarian Wall. The German International Strongest Man competition at Garmisch-Partenkirchen. This is Magnus Magnussen. And the Bavarian Wall, the trick is to grab hold of that barrel weighing 25 kilos, swing it once or twice between the legs and then throw it backwards over the head, over the wall, which at the moment is at its minimum height of 4 meters. It'll be extended to over 5 later on, but that's a good start there from Magnus Magnussen. This is Ilkka Kinnunen. Well, he had the height, but not the direction. So he's got 3 attempts. He can choose exactly at what height he comes in on. Chose the minimum. And he's got to get the trajectory right. So now the descendant from the Samoan royal family, Joe Onasai. No problem. Now Forbes Cowan from Scotland. And he's got the technique just right. So it's not just pure strength here. Timing important. And Ilkka Kinnunen, while the others wait, he's going to come in again. See if he can get it right now. Again, over the height of the wall, but didn't make it over the top. And Kinnunen, you can see, is getting increasingly frustrated. So he's got 1 chance left. So this is the Netherlands' strongest man, Ted van der Paare. No, he went the other way. Plenty of force, but not the height. But the grip is obviously difficult. Joe Onosai with his second throw. And he wants the tower to get some kind of grip. All these disciplines being contracted into a 4-hour period. Yes, no problem. So Onosai having a good start to this competition, the winner of the Hurricane event, remember. Heinz Olisch, the wall now has been raised to 5 meters. No. So Heinz Olisch has already had 4.8 meters, but short there at 5. And Ilkka Kinnunen seems to have injured his arm. Something wrong with his bicep. Can have another go, but it looked pretty serious, and you can see something's gone there. There's a tear in the bicep, and I'm afraid that is going to be the end of Ilkka Kinnunen's attempt here at this German International Strongest Man competition. Desperately disappointing for him. So he goes out on the 3rd of the 7 events. Last attempt here from Ted van der Paare from the Netherlands. Can he get it right this time? No. He can't get it right, but there's confirmation that Ilkka has retired for medical aid. He'll be getting treatment on that bicep, which has been torn away from the bone. But Manfred Hoeberl said in his opening speech to this competition that there are no winners, only survivors. In the end, it was Gary Taylor who won the competition on the Bavarian wall, so he takes 8 points. Ted van der Paare, second for South Africa, he takes 7, and Forbes Cowan of Scotland, third with 6. Nine o'clock in the evening now, and time for the 4th discipline, the truck race. Head-to-head, Joe Onosai and Heinz Olisch.
Steady, go, go,
There's Onosai.
Go, Heinz, jetzt geht's hoch und schiebt den Wagen, aber da ist Joe.
Really struggling, Onosai, and he's had to stop halfway along the 15-meter track, but Olisch carries on, but he couldn't get the grip. And Onosai having really bad problems with his grip. So Olisch carries on, and he crosses the line. In the end, he's just short of the distance. 15 meters he had to go, but just short of a meter short of the final title. 14.20 for Heinz Olisch, but a problem for Joe Onosai.
Ready,
but he hasn't lost his sense of humor. Second race between Forbes Cowan and Ted van der Paarde. There's Forbes, and this is a really close race. In the end, Ted van der Paarde gets it by 0.22 of a second. Van der Paarde 17.3, Forbes Cowan 17.52, but both pretty good.
Versuchen Sie selbst einmal, so einen LKW nur hochzuheben, und die Männer sind bereit. Und ich gebe das Kommando. Ready.
Gary Taylor there for Wales against Magnusson from Iceland. Magnusson very much the favourite here, but Taylor going well. Magnusson struggling. Very close indeed. And Taylor gets it. Taylor gets it by 7/100ths of a second, and it's the fastest time of all 6 competitors. Remember, Wayne Price has had to drop out, so too has Ilkka Kinnunen, so only 6 competitors in this. But Gary Taylor takes it. He takes 8 points. Magnusson takes 7. Ted van der Paarde takes 6. Now here is something completely different. Back to the rather bizarre Miss Cool competition. And what the contestants are subjecting themselves to here is going inside this weather balloon, which will be pumped right up to its limit until it blows to pieces, and the girls stay inside. Remember, the one who survives right to the end and is willing to take on all these gimmicks gets that trip to the Bahamas. So the pumping process beginning. In fact, only one of the contestants threw her hands of art and decided that she'd had enough, and she changed her mind. They all went through to a rather spectacular climax, which looks like something out of the Kubrick movie 2001. Yes, all the contestants survived through that. Not as dramatic as you might have thought. We'll be back with the main competition after this. More from the Miss Cool competition later on, I bet you can't wait. But now on to the main event, the German International Strongest Man. And this is the Viking Rock, the 5th of 7 disciplines. And this is Forbes Cowan dealing with 90 kilograms of archaic rock. You can see how hard it is to get a grip and to handle it, particularly in these wet conditions. And Forbes gets it over his head, but the feet aren't planted. And the rock must be raised above the head with stretched arms and legs, with the feet planted and parallel. And it didn't happen there, and you can see he does seem to have a bit of a shoulder problem. Same problem that affected him in the truck race. So hopefully not another injury coming up, because we've already had 2. Wayne Price and Ilkka Kinnunen dropping out already. So Joe Onosai having his go. Every stone, of course, different, needs a different technique. And Joe getting the same sort of problems getting a grip here. But immensely strong. And straight away he's going to decide to have another go. He hasn't overdone his time limit. 30 seconds he has to lift the stone from once he picks it up to lifting it over his head. But you can see really struggling to get a proper grip. And a wry smile. Not often that he has to give second best. So Wayne Price has been to hospital for treatment to his back. He's now back to support his colleagues, but he won't be competing anymore. So here's Gary Taylor, former silver medalist, remember, in the Olympics. Weightlifting very much his forte. Bending his chest to get support, and that's really easy. So Gary Taylor, very comfortable with the 90-kilo rock. Next to go, Forbes Cowan from Scotland. Forbes, remember, with the shoulder injury, and you can see rather nervously flexing it. His second try with this 90-kilo stone. Now this will be the test of the shoulder. And it doesn't look on. So game. But if it wasn't go up first time, it's hardly going to go up the second. No. And Forbes saying that the shoulder is really causing him a problem. So he retires from the Viking Rock, not from the competition overall though. Still 2 events to go, the Ring of Fire, which we're to see, and then the car race. So you probably heard that, Joe Onosai. Next on, he's going to go for 100 kilos.
So, noch ein Versuch von Joe. Joe Onosai. War knapp dran, kurz ist gescheitert, jetzt hat wieder am Oberschenkel. So, jetzt helfen wir ihm, dass den Stein hochbringt. Nein, kann den Griff nicht finden.
100 kilos, and he's treating it rather like a bit of soap.
Es ist einfach schwierig, wenn der Stein nass ist, einen Griff zu finden.
And that looked better. No, again, slipping away, just when he looked to have some kind of purchase on it. So frustrating for him. The rain's become heavier and heavier. It's around 10 o'clock at night now. Wayne Price giving him some advice as to how to do it. And the spectators having some punch to keep their spirits alive. So it's Ted van der Para. So close, but not fully outstretched. And he knows he's going to have another go. Must be steady, he's told. Now already, Manfred Hoeberl's been on to say to the competitors that if you don't want to carry on, we understand, because it is dangerous. If these rocks slip, anything could happen. Van der Para giving it absolutely everything. But he's not getting it up. It very nearly did him great damage. Manfred Hoeberl coming in there, you can see. And once again asking competitors, do you want to carry on? Because he doesn't think it should happen. But the competitors are all of one here. They want to continue. Next to go for Germany, the local hero, Heinz Olesch. This with 100 kilos. Well, it looked like he might have got it, and then it slipped away from him. Now here's Magnus Magnussen coming in at 100. Again bends back to get better balance, and look at that. No problem at all for the Icelander, who's now moving ahead in this competition overall. So the new mark then set by Magnussen, and the other's going to have to stay with him, otherwise he's going to shortly move into an unassailable lead in this overall competition. Here's Ted van der Para, lying in third place at the moment. 2 meters 20 high, so he's got further to lift it. Got so close before. Can he get it up a second time? Yes, he can. And that's a formidable lift from the Dutchman Ted van der Para. Finalist in the world's strongest man last year, losing out to Magnussen. So hope for the others, including here Heinz Olesch. His last try now. 100 kilos. Yes, he gets it. Must have been marginal, but the judges are giving it. And Gary Taylor, singly unimpressed. He's going to go up from 100 to 120 kilos. The Germans, meanwhile, celebrating that really plucky effort from Olesch, who looked to be in trouble before. So he's going to be very near a medal overall. Guaranteed now, at least third place in this Viking rock competition. Remember, 2 events still to come. Here's Gary Taylor now with the weight up to 120. Effortless. Taylor, recently the winner in the strongest man competition in Lithuania, the Grand Prix there. And no difficulty at 120. Now Taylor's saying he's not going to go any further, but here's a guy who is Magnus Magnussen going for 135. Unbelievable. Taylor's not going on, but Magnussen, that was his 120 kilo lift, and shortly he was to move it up to 135 to take 125 to take maximum points in this Viking rock competition. We'll be back with more from Garmisch-Partenkirchen right after this. Now then, a first for Eurosport, the last discipline in Miss Cool. Local competitors here from Garmisch-Partenkirchen. And these are the survivors who made it through. They have to pull that tire, weighing around 20 kilos. Then over that beam. And then they have to open this basket. And what's inside? Exactly. Live snakes. And she seems completely unfazed by it. Amazing. And before you get carried away thinking all the girls from Garmisch-Partenkirchen are all mad, all the Bavarians here, I can tell you that there is a formidable prize. This trip to the Bahamas to see the World's Strongest Man competition next year. But this girl doesn't look too impressed. They're not told what's inside the basket before they start, so it is surprise as well as complete fear, and you can see she is not happy about carrying on. And that's something that's going to stay with her for a few nights. Whoever thought this up has a really warped sense of humor. The girl's not told about any of the disciplines before they started. And the reaction when they open the basket, sight for sore eyes.
Der stärksten Männer der Welt. Ich sagte ja schon mal, es wird ein Punkt dabei sein bei diesem dritten Wettbewerb, der nicht ganz so einfach zu bewerkstelligen ist wie die ersten beiden. Es wird also wirklich spannend.
And of course, as the night draws on and the rain makes it more and more difficult, the tower becoming increasingly heavy.
Solltet ihr davon abstürzen, müsst ihr zum Schwebebalken zurück und nochmal anfangen. Die Zeit läuft natürlich weiter. Und das ist ein entscheidender Punkt, die Zeit. Die Damen haben ja alle die
Full of fortitude so far, but what about this?
10 Punkte bekommen. Das heißt, alle verfügen über 20 Punkte.
Well, she opened the basket and reacted as if she trains these things.
Strecken hier abgelaufen werden. Die ganze Strecke und ihr alle 3 Dinge erfüllt, heißt das, ihr bekommt jeweils 10 Punkte. Dann seid ihr am Ende punktgleich. Entscheidend wird dann sein, wer die schnellste war. Ist das klar? Wir hätten Ihnen gern diesen Bewerb auf beiden Seiten vorgeführt, aber aus technischen Gründen ist das nur hier.
It's the first event where there is timing. And here's the girl who eventually won the competition, Heike Schöneger.
An der 5. Stelle aus Schottland mit 26.
And again, no real sense of surprise, and she takes it.
Heike Schönecker und sie ist die Miss Cool 95 hier in Garmisch.
So Heike Schöneger, congratulated by Manfred Hoeberl, and she'll be off to watch Hoeberl and his mates in the World's Strongest Man next year. And she deserves it after all that.
Ready, steady, go!
Now then, the final event in the German International Strongest Man, the car race. Head to head, Forbes Cowan up against Joe Onosai. And Joe, a convincing winner. Wins by a couple of seconds. 13.15 is the benchmark against Cowan's 15.32. So Joe Onosai forming himself right back into contention.
Ready, steady, go!
Now Gary Taylor in the blue car against Magnus Vermagnusson, the leader going into this final competition. And Vermagnusson getting through by a second. So a new best time, that's 11.54 set by Vermagnusson. Taylor second, 12.95. And that more or less wraps it up for Magnusson. The others can't overhaul him. And Vermagnusson is going to take the German international title.
Neue Rekordzeit 11.54, damit gewinnt diesen Bewerb und man kann schon inoffiziell
So the end of a massive night's work for this incredible Hulk from Iceland, Magnus Vermagnusson. But it's still not over. Chance here for Heinz Olesch against Ted van der Parra. Van der Parra in the green car there against Heinz Olesch. Olesch needs to win here to take third place. It's already sure that Magnussen's going to take gold and Taylor silver. But Van der Parre having real problems here. Not so Olesch. And Van der Parre looks badly injured here, and an abrupt end to his night's work. And Heinz Olesch gets the win and a time of 13.10, which takes him into third place, and he indeed does take the bronze medal here in this German international.
Die Zeit vom Heinz, 18:63.
And Van der Parre desperately disappointed. Started so well, but he's going to have to be content with joint fourth place here with Joe on his side. And gingerly getting out of that car. So 4 hours of pouring sweat and pouring rain as well. And the winner from Iceland.
It's just a wreck of a Barbie Ferrari. It's just a wreck of a Barbie Ferrari. It's just a wreck of a Barbie Ferrari. When they get home from church, won't they be sorry? He's cornered them all on his urban safari. It ain't the end of the world. It's just a wreck of a Barbie Ferrari.
But then chance now to catch up on all the placings. 8th place goes to Finland's Ilkka Kinnunen, the American gladiator, the Bavarian. But he had to drop out after the third event, the Bavarian Wall, with his bicep problem. Desperately disappointing time for Wayne Price from South Africa. Only 7th. Had to retire after the Stones of Strength with his back problem. One of the favourites here, and the man who everyone thought would give Magnus for Magnussen the biggest run for his money. The man who hauled a Boeing 747 a distance of 20 metres. No 6th place, joint 5th with 31 points. Forbes, Cowan and Ted Van der Parre. And Cowan, you can see, not particularly satisfied with joint 5th. Ted Van der Parre, the oldest man on the field, 39 years old, hasn't done bad at all. 4th place to Joe Onosai. 33 points. Former American football player, sumo wrestler, and you can see taking it all in. Very impressive tattoos, said to have been made publicly in the marketplace back home, where they used wild boar's claws. 3rd place, and isn't he delighted? Bowman, Heinz Olesch, the youngest of us all. 27 years old. And at the peak of his form here, a dream come true. And you can see, thrilled to have beaten some of the strongest men. Second place for Gary Taylor from Wales, 34 years old. A massive physique and a very fine evening's work. Instructor for power sports in his spare time. Some of his pupils are prisoners in Wandsworth Prison in London. And I don't suppose they cause any problems at all. And a big hit with the ladies too. And the winner, Magnussen. 4 points clear of everyone else. And continues his Tremendous record. 7 times Icelandic champion, twice world champion. And he receives the trophy from Manfred Hoeberl. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed the program. For now, from me, Simon Reed, goodbye.
Memory lane almost 20 years ago.